Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you're a true Falcons supporter, you know that this season has been anything but boring. The Atlanta Falcons have been in a constant state of evolution, trying to find that perfect mix to push them further into playoff contention, maybe even a deep run towards the Super Bowl. And as we all know, in the NFL, one key position can change everything. That's why today, we're diving deep into a story that could shake up not just the Falcons' plans but the entire NFC South. This story involves a name that's been making waves recently, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, that veteran quarterback who's been the face of the Minnesota Vikings for years, but who might be on the move again, and this time, it's stirring up some interesting conversations around Atlanta. So, what's the scoop? Well, according to some reports, the Falcons have pretty much run out of options when it comes to trading for Cousins. It's not that they don't want him, but the reality is, the market for a veteran quarterback like Cousins has become increasingly narrow. Teams that were interested earlier on have either moved on or are hesitant to part with their assets, especially considering Cousins' hefty contract and the fact that he's still seen as a potentially game-changing quarterback in the right system. But here's the kicker: if Atlanta still wants to pursue a trade, they might have to wait for a team in playoff contention to suffer a setback, maybe an injury behind center that could force a desperate team to come knocking with a tempting offer. And that's not all. There's even a more audacious scenario floating around, one that seems almost too crazy to consider at first glance: the idea of Kirk Cousins heading to the New Orleans Saints. Now, for most Falcons fans, that might sound like heresy. After all, the Saints are division rivals, and trading a key piece like Cousins within the NFC South wouldn't exactly be a move that sits well with Atlanta. But let's think about it for a moment. Bleacher Report's Alex K., a well-respected NFL analyst, didn't completely dismiss this possibility. In fact, he proposed a scenario where the Falcons could send Cousins to the Saints in a blockbuster trade, in exchange for a package that includes a young quarterback, Spencer Rattler, and some draft picks, specifically a 2026 fifth round and a 2027 sixth round pick. This proposal might seem outlandish, but when you look at the Saints' current quarterback situation, it starts to make a bit more sense. They're trying to piece together a QB room that's mostly unproven, with rookies and second-year guys like Tyler Show, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Heener. That's a risky gamble, especially if they want to be serious contenders in 2025. If they aim to elevate their game, bringing in a proven veteran like Cousins would give them a significant boost. Kay pointed out that Cousins, despite signing a hefty 4-year, $180 million contract just last year, is still seen as one of the last reliable options available for a team desperate to improve its quarterback stability. But of course, the biggest obstacle here is the division rivalry. The Falcons and Saints aren't just neighbors, they're fierce competitors. Trading Cousins to the Saints would be like handing them a cheat code, a way to leap ahead in the NFC South. The NFL is a business, though, and salary cap considerations come into play. Cousins' contract is sizable, and the Saints, with just around $29 million in cap space, would face a challenge if they were to take on his guaranteed money. For Atlanta, giving up Cousins might seem like a way to build for the future, but sending him to their division rival, that's a move that probably would not sit well with the Falcons' front office, especially considering how Atlanta is focused on winning the division this year and beyond. Why is this such a big deal? Well, Kirk Cousins turned the Falcons into a much more competitive team during parts of 2024. Remember those games where he looked like a seasoned veteran carving up defenses, making precise throws, and leading Atlanta to some impressive victories? That version of Cousins was a major reason why the Falcons were in playoff contention for much of the season. But then, as the season progressed, things started to shift. Cousins ended the year on a sour note, losing his starting job to rookie Michael Penix Jr., a young quarterback with great potential who seems to be the future in Atlanta. The Falcons have a young core, a talented defense, and a promising offensive line, but the quarterback position remains critical. The question is, should Atlanta move on from Cousins, or do they see him as a bridge to a more sustained success? And here's where things get really interesting. Despite the possibility of trading Cousins, many Falcons fans might disagree with the idea that shipping him off to the Saints would be beneficial. They might argue that Cousins, when at his best, is exactly what Atlanta needs to push into the playoffs and make a genuine Super Bowl run. But the reality is, Cousins' recent performances, especially the ending of this past season, have raised doubts about whether he's still the long-term answer. The Falcons are building a team with a lot of young talent, guys like Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a defense that's steadily improving. They want a quarterback who can be a steady hand, a leader, and someone who can elevate the entire team. And let's be honest, if Atlanta were to trade Cousins to the Saints, it would be a strategic move to weaken a division rival, something that could pay dividends in the short and long term. But it's a gamble, because even if the Falcons see it as a way to stockpile draft capital or clear cap space, it could come at the cost of their immediate Super Bowl aspirations. The NFL is a league where timing and chemistry matter so much, and moving a veteran quarterback who has shown flashes of brilliance might backfire if the replacement isn't ready or if the team loses its edge. Now, what about the future? Well, Atlanta's front office, led by General Manager Terry Fontenot, has shown an incredible knack for making strategic moves. They've been aggressive when needed, smart in the draft, and patient with their development. Moving forward, they're probably going to focus heavily on building around their young core and finding a quarterback who can grow with them. Whether that's through the draft, a trade, or even developing a young player like Desmond Ridder if they see enough potential, the Falcons are in a crucial phase of their franchise trajectory. And let's not forget, the NFC South is wide open right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are rebuilding, the Carolina Panthers are trying to find their footing, and of course, the New Orleans Saints are trying to reclaim their dominance after a couple of rocky seasons. The Atlanta Falcons have a real shot to not just compete, but to possibly dominate this division if they get their quarterback situation sorted out. That's why every move, every trade, every signing is so critical. Moving Cousins, especially to a division rival, would be a bold move with high stakes. But at the end of the day, it's all about the long-term vision. Do the Falcons see Cousins as the piece that can bring them back to the Super Bowl, or do they view him as a valuable asset to be traded for future gains? The balance between immediate success and building for the future is a tightrope walk, and right now, it seems the Falcons are weighing their options carefully. They have a talented roster, a young core, and a coaching staff that's been pushing all the right buttons. The question remains, will they make that bold move, or will they hold on to Cousins a bit longer, hoping for that perfect moment to strike? And of course, fans, this kind of news always stirs up strong opinions. Some believe that acquiring a veteran like Cousins could be the missing piece to finally push Atlanta over the edge into serious contention. Others think that trading him, especially to a division rival, would be a mistake that costs them in the long run. It's a fascinating debate, and it's one that will unfold over the coming weeks as teams make their offseason moves and prepare for the next chapter of their journey. So, as we watch this story develop, it's clear that the Atlanta Falcons are at a crossroads. Do they stick with their current plan and develop their young talent, or do they make a bold move to acquire a veteran quarterback who can lead them immediately? The NFL is unpredictable, and that's what makes it so exciting. One thing is for sure, no matter what happens, the Falcons are positioning themselves as serious contenders, and every decision they make now will echo into their future. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this whole Kirk Cousins situation? Do you think Atlanta should hold on to him, try to trade him, or even consider that wild scenario of moving him to the Saints? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons' future. Remember, this team is built on its passionate fan base, and your voice is part of what makes this community so special. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more insights into the Atlanta Falcons' journey. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting our team through every twist and turn of this exciting NFL offseason. The Falcons are on the rise, and with the right moves, they could be right back in the thick of Super Bowl contention sooner than we think. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Falcons.